everyone, it's May 22nd, 2020, and looks like we got one more week of house arrest before we can all go out again here in Washington State. I'm very hopeful that this time it will be a done deal. We've extended the house arrest a couple of times, but I'm starting to feel very optimistic about a number of things. When we first locked down, I remember thinking that this would be a great time for me to reflect on what's important in life and what's not. And for the most part, I've been doing that. I've developed a number of hobbies, and I like the slower pace of life in general. I talked about in a previous video how sometimes I feel very rushed to make decisions, and I don't necessarily make the right ones. Especially face-to-face conversations where it seems like there's a pressure to answer and to act and to make rash decisions. Yesterday I went out for a drive. I went to see the Milky Way, with Jupiter and Saturn being really close to one another, and there's just so little traffic on the road. I get very emotional in terms of road rage sometimes. I see somebody on the road behaving in a way that I find wrong, and I want to react to it. I want to honk my horn. I want to brake check him, and I don't necessarily want to do those things, but when things are happening at me really fast, right? If I see up ahead, like if I see road rage like a mile ahead and it takes me like a minute to catch up to that, by the time I get up to it, it doesn't seem like such a big deal. I've already thought through it. It's the instant reactions that tend to throw me off, and the slower pace of life has really helped with that. And it's been great training wheels that if I know I can handle it correctly in 30 seconds, maybe in the future I'll do it in 30 milliseconds instead. That's what I'm hoping for. I wish we could have more of these lockdown periods where I could practice my behavior. I really need those extra seconds to think about what to do next, how to talk, how to act. And the last couple of months have been great training wheels for me. What I'm really excited is that during this lockdown period, obviously, unfortunately, a lot of people are out of work, right? But I think fortunately, when people go back to work, they'll be able to find a better fit for their work, right? If we start over again on a clean slate, where because people have a hard time leaving their jobs, right? Even if there's a better one 2 streets down, right? If COVID-19 forces everybody to reevaluate where they're working, I'm hoping more people will end up in their dream jobs. I'm not saying there are any jobs that are bad, but you might find that person A is doing what person B ought to be doing, and vice versa. And because of COVID-19, they both lost their jobs, and then when they go back, they might be able to go back to a better job, right? I'm very hopeful for that. I don't know why, but I feel very optimistic that's going to be the situation. One of my big criticisms about the stimulus is that they have this paycheck protection program where the government literally pays your paycheck for 2 months so that you can go back to your old job. Your old job might not have been your best fit. The idea that we could start from a clean slate and start over again has a good feeling to me for some reason. I don't know. History will have to decide if the paycheck protection program was a good idea or a bad idea, right? Another thing I'm hopeful for is that a lot of people are probably breaking up during this time, right? Especially people who weren't living together in the first place and they couldn't see each other. If they were not in a very committed relationship, like how I was 2 months ago, they might just break up, right? And I'm hoping that we can start over again and meet somebody better, right? Just like with the jobs, with the relationships, if we start over from a clean slate, and this one a lot more people are open to, right? The government didn't do anything to protect people in their own relationships, right? In fact, I think domestic violence rates are going up during this time, which in the long term it might not be bad, as long as nobody gets hurt, right? In the long term, the fact that people who weren't a fit made that discovery during COVID-19 is probably not the end of the world, right? We'll just find people who are a better fit, right? I'm very hopeful of that. I'm very hopeful that people will meet somebody who will be a good business partner, right? Maybe COVID-19 will make us realize that people who were business partners before, they weren't a good fit, right? They ended up arguing over who should get the stimulus money, how it should be divided, how our business is going to continue. If they weren't a good fit to begin with, that's gonna slip in, right? And they might just decide that maybe they need to fold their business and to start over, right? This is a good time to be discovering some new hobbies you didn't think you would enjoy. That I've already been doing that for the last couple of months, right? Might be a good time to reevaluate your eating habits, right? Especially if you go out to the store and your favorite comfort food is not available, you might discover that you like other foods a lot more than you previously thought, right? That's a discovery I've been making. So at the end of this crisis, I'm hoping people have a better job, they have a better relationship, they have new hobbies, new favorite foods, especially healthier foods, right? They might discover they don't need their drugs as much as they do, whether it's prescription drugs or illegal drugs, right? Both of those are probably getting harder to come by during this. I'm not sure about the illegal drugs, but certainly prescription drugs are going to be harder to come by during this time, right? And people might discover that they can find ways around it, especially lifestyle changes, right? And I'm hopeful that we'll have all this great stuff. Oh, it reminds me of, last year I went to see Toy Story 4, but it reminds me of Toy Story 2, the situation that I'm in. In that particular movie, the main character, Andy, he's about to go on to summer camp, and one of his beloved toys breaks down, right? His Woody, right? And he goes on to summer camp, and he comes back to find all these new toys, right? And for me, the Woody was the fact that I couldn't go out to my favorite hangouts, the fact that my favorite foods weren't available, the fact that I didn't have toilet paper for a couple of days, and the new toys are going to be the new relationship, the new job, the new hobbies, the new lifestyle, and all that, right? And well, you might be wondering, well, what if none of this happens? Am I going to be disappointed? Well, yeah, but at least I'll be alive. I've been isolated in times past like this before, where I've almost ended my life. I've gotten in trouble with the law before, and none of that has happened this time. And yeah, if none of this happens, at least I'll be alive. I'll be out of jail, and I think it's okay for me to lie to myself at this time just to get through it in this situation. It's an emergency. Thanks for watching.